Patton.
Present.
Mr. Rudy.
Present.
Mr. Schaff.
Present.
Ms. Sanborn.
Present.
Mrs. Spencer.
Present.
All present?
You will please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order is 3.01, student voice.
Hello, good evening. Good evening, everybody. Ooh, that's loud. Wow. Hello, if we haven't met, I'm Josh. I'm the principal here at Holly Hill. We're going to start by taking a little bit look at our theme for the evening for our students here. So I've got a couple slides for you there. Everything we do every day is to build these students into graduates. So I talk all the time because having preschoolers here, it's hard to think about that when they're 3 years old and they're walking through the door for the first time. But these four young ladies and gents in front of you, we want them to have all of these abilities and all these traits as graduates. Tonight, we're specifically talking about resiliency and adaptability. Now, I referenced that a little bit when we were doing that building tour about how the staff show that a lot with how we're able to adapt the space, be resilient, and overcome some challenges. But tonight, we're going to look at things a little bit differently with student voice, and we're going to talk through some different experiences that are available to students here at Holly Hill that we're going through in order that we provide in order for students to build the resiliency and the adaptability. So they may sound like a usual thing to an extent, but we've done a special twist on those, and I want you to hear directly from them. So we'll get to questions in a minute, but they are prepared questions. The answers are not. So the answers are not scripted. We're going to kind of go off the cuff a little bit here. We practiced a little bit, but I want to give them some time. I want you to hear them talking more than me. So we want to specifically, like when we met earlier throughout the week and last week, we talked about being flexible when new challenges arise, how we are persistent, we show confidence and humility, and really looking at learning. And you guys hear it every day. What do I say on the announcements? Let's get after it and let's get to
Learning.
That's right. So everything we do is about learning. What can we do to just find a way to just squeeze every little drop of learning out of a situation? So who I have for you this evening is Miss Scarlett. Raise your hand, Scarlett. Wave for everybody. This is Scarlett. She's in first grade. We have Mr. Ray over here. Raise your hand, Ray. He's in third grade. We have Miss Cora, and she's in fifth grade. And Mr. Logan here. He's in fifth grade also. So the three things we're looking at is we do this thing called Husky Huddles, which are kind of cross-grade buddies. We'll talk about that more in a second. We do have a special before and after school program. Some of our staff are here for that. Can you wave to us, folks? If you're involved in the before and after care. They love the kids so much, they spend like 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. with them. And they're here even later tonight just to make sure that they do well. And we have a variety of extracurricular clubs that either take place before school or after school. And everyone's a part of a club, but a different kind of club, correct?
Yes.
I think so, yes. So what I'm going to do is we're going to talk through it a topic at a time, and they're going to share some answers to their questions. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
You're not nervous, right?
No.
Oh, you got to speak loud for me, okay? Okay, so who would like to go first? Talk to me about your buddies. So what they do is in fifth, like, for example, we have a fifth grader here who meets with her first grade buddy to her right. There she is. So they are buddies, and they spend some time together in class, and they do different things. Talk to me a little bit about, your buddy in that different grade. What did you learn about them when you met?
I learned new things about my sister and about what she likes and what she has interest in and what she wants to be when she grows up.
Awesome. So you're telling me this is your sister?
Yes.
And she's your buddy at school too?
Yes.
And you learned stuff about your sister at school that you didn't know from home too? Yeah. Did you learn something about Cora?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk to me about that? Lean close to this here, okay? Talk to me, girl. a little too close. That's fine. Go ahead. What did you learn about Cora during your buddy meetings?
That she's the best sister.
Oh, she's the best sister. Gotcha. Awesome. That's great. So did you enjoy your time together?
Yes.
Why did you enjoy it? What was fun about it?
I enjoyed spending more time with my sister at school because we only see each other at home at school days.
Okay.
So at school, it's interesting to see her because they don't really see each other that
Yeah,
much throughout
because
the day.
you're in 5th and 1st grade, and your paths probably don't cross a whole lot, right? That's
Yeah.
fun. Okay. Well, fellas, how about you guys? Tell me about your experiences with your school-age buddies. What did you learn about them? Was it fun? What made it fun? You can talk into that one there.
I learned that my school buddy, his favorite food, what his favorite color was, and his name.
Awesome. Awesome. Ray, did you have anything you want to share about buddies? Is something you learned about them or something you enjoyed about the experience?
So my buddy from kindergarten, I learned something from him. He was like nice. He was helping me like learn new stuff like from kindergarten and
It's okay to say, and that's it. That's how we end it. And that's it. That's how we end that one. So you're telling me that he helped you learn new things and helped you overcome some challenges, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And ladies, we spoke about reading books, right?
Yeah.
Let me open that. So talk to us a little bit about your books that you read. How did you come about to land on that book?
Scarlett picked the books out, and I read them to her one by one. And it was interesting to see what kind of books she would pick and what she was interested in reading. Because we don't really, because she's usually on her electronics at home, so she doesn't really read that much except at school.
Gotcha. Scarlett, do you remember what kind of books you chose?
no.
No? Do you remember what kind of books your sister chose?
No.
No, okay. I'm sure they were great. So just to draw your attention over here real quick, initially when they met, they wanted the students to build the relationships. Obviously, if we're siblings, we have somewhat of a relationship in the background that we wanted to get the older students and younger students to get to know one another first. So this choice board was provided to those teachers so they can kind of pick what activity that their students would engage in on that day. Once again, trying to milk every opportunity of learning out of it. We have a choice board for the meetings after that, and some things they haven't even done yet on here, where they're going to be kind of choosing everything from projects, math focus, and they'll even have some social, emotional learning going on with their buddy. So is there anything you guys want to share about the buddies? Anything you want to add? Did we miss something?
Oh yes.
You all good?
So we learned a new game, and I think it was about bugs. Like you can pick, like you have to roll a dice to see what number you get, and then you gotta see what one you got. Like 7 eyes. Don't really know what else.
Gotcha. Okay. So you had a fun game that you learned something from, right? Yep. Okay. So, kind of shifting gears a little bit, before and after care. Of the four of you, who's involved with the before and after care? Gotcha. Point to your favorite before and after care person now. They're right there. I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'm just joking. Thank you, Miss Abby. Thank you, Miss Camille. We appreciate you. So talk to us about that. So talk to us, so you're telling me that you spend more time at school, right?
Yes.
Okay. What's the best part about that time?
It's about spending more. I think it's more fun spending more time with my friends because I don't see them outside of school.
Okay.
So it's really fun spending more time with them.
Awesome. Scarlett, what do you enjoy about the before and after care program? What's fun for you?
Playing and learning.
What do you learn about?
Well, really, sometimes I learn numbers and I learn times.
Awesome. This is a first grader learning multiplication and before and after care. Big round of applause for Scarlett. Thanks, Scarlett. That's awesome. Now, Cora, did you help her with that?
No, because well, if I did, I forget.
If she did, she forgot. Fair enough. Mr. Logan, you love before and after care, right? What's the best part?
How the teachers are always helping me out always nice to me.
Awesome. So what is something that you learned during that time before and after care? Because remember we talked about there's a different focus for different times. So talk to us about that. What did you learn there?
I learned how to like do like to get along with more people, and like if you are fighting with someone, not to just yell at them and just get the teacher to figure things out.
Awesome. So you guys learned how to overcome some challenges, right?
Yes.
And that if you have a disagreement with somebody, how you work through it. Can you talk me through like what you learned from that, or how you learned it too?
Me and Logan are in Miss Abby's group
Okay.
because we split into two in the after school. We've been learning how to control our emotions, and sometimes she would pull up some read aloud books on how to control our emotions, and sometimes she would talk us through it and read a book to us. Like a couple weeks ago, I forget, she had us do kindness spots or emotion spots.
Awesome. That's great. Well, thank you. Anything else you guys want to share about before and after care? Nothing?
Do you have
Cool.
anything, Scarlett?
Scarlett, do you have something?
No.
No. Okay. Let's talk about book club. Who's in book club? Who is it? Oh, yes, Mr. Logan. Talk to us about the book club.
Oh yeah.
What'd you do? What's book club all about? Act like no one here knows what book club is. They probably don't. Tell them what it is, what you learned from it.
Oh yeah, I am.
He's in book club. I have a
Oh,
picture of
yeah,
you with the
I
book
am,
right there.
I am, yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot.
That's okay. Talk to us about book club.
I read The Lemonade War. It's about how this brother and the sister, they got, the sister got mad at the brother. Well, they both got mad at each other because the brother did the lemonade stand with his friend, and his friend didn't really help him out. And then his sister was like kind of jealous because they didn't do it anymore.
Gotcha. So how did you learn about the book? Like we talked about, you read the book, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about that conversation that you had during book club with like Miss Lisa and the other kids.
We talked about Miss McNeil and Miss Miller would ask us questions about the book, and we would read a certain amount of
Pages.
chapters,
There you go.
and they would ask us questions about what, like blank, like what did they do? Or,
Sure. So how did that help you?
with like getting better at reading
Yeah.
and practicing.
That's awesome. I have just a random question popped into my head. What if you're spending all day at school, and you're opting in, you're choosing to join a club? What would make you want to join a club? And that can be Ray or Logan if you want to answer. What makes you want to join a club to be at school longer?
It's just more fun after school, and
Sure.
you guys get to play games like before, after kindness club, and you guys get to go outside to the first grade playground.
There you go. Okay. Talk to me about Kindness Club. What kind of things did you do to help the school in Kindness Club?
I don't know really.
Didn't you write notes for somebody?
We put stuff around the school for teachers, students,
Yeah.
like sticky notes, hedgehogs, elves.
Yeah. So they did a really fun activity where they posted, like around Thanksgiving, things they were thankful for on little leaves, and they just posted that around school as positive things, just to kind of build up the staff and kind of help students feel like welcome here. And he chose to do that, so thank you, Ray. I appreciate that. Well, I have a couple more, and also I have a picture here of our Kindness Club. When we did our Veterans Day ceremony, Miss Reese, our Dean of Students, worked with all the students to kind of lead the white table. It's okay. Did you want to talk about that, Ray?
No.
No, okay. So that was, if you see Ray's in the picture, helping with the white table ceremony. So it was, so once again, having the students involved in that process just takes that extra layer of care for our veterans, so that we really appreciate their service. I'd like to wrap up with a couple quick questions around our portrait of a graduate and talk again about resiliency and adaptability. Once again, we talked about challenges. So, anyone would like to share about a time when you learned something in club, before, aftercare, with a buddy that helped you overcome a challenge? You had a really good answer earlier today.
Yeah.
Do you remember? All of you had good answers. A time you were challenged by something and you powered through.
Oh. I was challenged on my reading test.
Yeah, talk to us about that.
I was challenged on my reading test when I first took it, but I was with my skills teacher and I learned how to sound things out more. And on my next reading test, I got way better than my previous test. And I
Nicely done,
studied
Logan.
a lot.
Round of applause for Logan. Way to work hard. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Awesome. So did you guys want to share anything else about your experiences here at Holly Hill and how it's helped you to be a tougher kid and be a kid that was able to overcome challenges and be more creative? Anything you want to add, Ray? Final thoughts? Ladies? Yes?
The kind teachers that have helped me when I needed help and didn't understand stuff, and helping me with problems that I had, and teaching me how to be a problem solver.
Awesome. 'Cause it's not okay just to give up. You got to power through, get some help, some folks around you that love you and care about you and make it happen, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Well, this time I'd like to open up to the board members. If you had any final questions or thoughts that are bugging you about our awesome kids here, I hope I succeeded in letting them talk more than me, but I tried here. Mr. Rudy.
I'd like to know how you all learned to speak so loud in front of an audience. Because you're
Okay.
excellent. You're better than my high school students. They get scared.
I sort of just do it. I've been nervous throughout this whole event today.
You didn't show it at all. I would have not thought you were nervous.
Thank you.
Anyone else? We all good? Well, thank you. We'd like to conclude. We've got a little gift for you guys. Can you help me?
Yeah.
Do you mind? Okay. With board appreciation month, I'm going to have them help me out here.
They did all the work.
There you go. Scarlett, you can have a seat. Right here. Right, come on. There you go. Anyone off to Mr. Williams?
Thank you, Mr. Ray. You did all the work. Thank you.
So
nice.
a little gift from us Huskies here. Come on around, boys.
Thank you.
That's what I said, no husky water.
One for Miss Sanborn.
I was so scared. Exactly right.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you all for doing this.
You're welcome. For us.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Roger Waters and William Monroe.
Well, board members, we're going to move on now to recognizing you. It is officially Board Appreciation Month, and the theme this year is launching the next generation. And you can see with students like Scarlett and Cora and Logan and the mayor, Mr. Ray, that we have a bright future here in West Clermont because of the kinds of students and families that we have. So behind you will see lots of notes and well wishes and thanks to the board. It is as a board member, it is one of the most thankless jobs that you can have in the community. That you spend a lot of hours, weekly hours, that you spend learning about what's going on in the district, wrapping your brains around the challenges, and helping us as a leadership team conquer those challenges. And so I don't think anybody has any idea that what you spend is not just sitting at these tables on special board meetings. That you spend a lot of time at town halls, at special events like our athletic programs and our performing arts programs, as well as visiting during the winter festivities or whatever concerts. So we just want to thank you, Mr. Ryle. Where is he?
He's right there.
Oh yeah, Mr. Ryle has a gift that he's going to bring around to each of you. It's just a small token of our appreciation to you for all that you do throughout the school year to lead our school district to higher levels. So thank you very much.
Next is the motion to adopt the agenda. I'll put that out on the floor in the form of a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Angela, straightforward, gentlemen. Any discussion?
Mr. Patton?
Yes.
Mr. Rudy?
Yes.
Mr. Schaff?
Yes.
Ms. Sanborn?
Yes.
Mrs. Spencer?
Yes.
5 yes.
Yes, 6.
Next, it looks like public speaking.
No.
Your father was telling me no. So we're moving to the consent agenda, starting with the personnel agenda.
Good evening, members of the board. This is Adam, Mr. Romano. In front of you is the personnel agenda for January 8th. On the agenda today, we have the retirement of Kathy Coleman, a third grade teacher at WT Elementary. At the end of this year, Kathy will have been with the district 31 years. So we wish her well in her future endeavors. We also have the resignations of the WCU future coordinator, the child nutrition field supervisor, and an office assistant. This agenda includes the proposed hiring of a second shift custodian, one full-time paraprofessional aide, and one part-time paraprofessional aide. On this agenda, we have the transfer or reassignment of Shannon Farnback from Holly Hill Clinic Assistant to the Human Capital Support Specialist. She'll be replacing the district office receptionist, Kathy Palazzolo, who announced her retirement earlier this week. On this agenda, we have the proposed approval for supplemental contracts for an athletic contest, athletic facilities coordinator, high school girls basketball second assistant coach. And also on this agenda is the proposed approval for multiple unpaid leaves of absences and multiple school volunteers and student teachers. This concludes the review of the personnel agenda submission for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Holtz. Moving next, I believe, Mr. Gephardt, the second reading of the policy.
The second reading is a cleanup of language, but also makes this consistent with our human capital, that we're able to extend service credit to those not only in Ohio, but outside of Ohio. This is something that is a cleanup of language for us, that we able to do that as well. It was a recommendation from Dr. Foltz and his department.
Mr. Gephardt. Moving to 7.02 will be approval of the minutes for December 11th meeting.
Correct. It's recommendation for approval of the minutes of December 11th. That was a regular board meeting in December, and item 7.04 is request for approval of the minutes of the organizational meeting, which was held on January 4th.
Next, I move it.
Yep. Item 7.05 is the donations received, and if I can read those, the first one, just to make an adjustment, in May, the board did adopt and approved donations from American Bodily Insurance. There was a question on a certificate that they needed, so they ran the donation through, and we appreciate the fact that the West Clermont Education Foundation helped out. It was for furnishing and equipment that came to the school district. Elite Pest Management donated $200 to Littleville Elementary to the principal's account. Joe Ramos donated 2 coats and food for students in need at Withamsville Tabasco Elementary in memory of Jody Ramos. Tasha Pendergrass with Dollar Tree donated 500 toys to Merwin Elementary for the Santa Shop and Mustang Market. Amber Kellerman donated $500 to Merwin Elementary to pay off lunch balances. Kelly Vincent donated clothes for students in need to Holly Hill Elementary. Withamsville Church of Christ donated Christmas presents for 30 students to Withamsville Tabasco Elementary for students in need. Valley Interior System donated 50 toys to Withamsville Tabasco Elementary for students in need. The VFW Ohio Charities donated $5,000 each to Summerside Elementary and to Withamsville Tabasco Elementary for student and staff needs, so it's a total of $10,000. Heather Carmen donated $100 to Withamsville Tabasco Elementary for Natalie Martinez's classroom. It's requested those donations be accepted by the board. Item 7.06 is the list of contracts that have been put forward. Those are listed in the attachment. So it's a recommendation to approve the resolution authorizing the superintendent treasurer services. Item 7.07 is request for approval of purpose and budget statements for this current fiscal year. Those submitting requests for adjustments are the Spanish Activity Club at the high school, the French Student Activity Club, the Dance Ensemble, and the Link Group. And so it is respectfully requested, item 7.01 through 7.07 that represents the consent agenda.
Is there further recommendation? Would anybody like to make a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion about anything that we spoke about? Okay.
Mr. Schaff?
Yes.
Ms. Sanborn?
Yes.
Mrs. Spencer?
Yes.
Mr. Matt?
Yes.
Mr. Rudy? 5 yes.
Moving on to superintendent's business.
Mrs. Preston is going to bring forward item 8.01. It's related to our school calendar. It's an anticipated change that we talked about when we first approved this calendar over a year ago. And both issues that we want to share tonight are related to safety issues. So it's interesting that a calendar and safety go together, but they do. So
Yeah.
Mrs. Preston.
So as Mrs. Adams referenced, at the time that, given that we approve calendars, at least 18 months in advance of when the actual school year will begin, at the time that the board approved the calendar for this school year, the 23-24 school year, we were going off of like best information available to us at the time, given that the Board of Elections had not yet officially approved the election dates for the 2024 year. So when we approved the calendar, we earmarked and like sort of put double asterisks on the May 7th date, noting that that date was subject to change depending on when election day was actually held. It's very important to us for student safety that students not be in attendance on an election day, especially this year, given that we anticipate there'll be lots of people coming for the presidential primaries. And so what we are planning to do is just do a flip-flop of those dates. So May 7th, which right now had been earmarked as the spring election date, that professional learning day will now be on March 19th. And so students will not be in attendance on March 19th, and instead they will be in attendance on May 7th. So it's just a flip-flop of those dates. And then the second request is also related to student safety, and it's because of the solar eclipse that you've probably heard about on the news. It's been quite the subject for quite some time. It's actually one of the things that ODE has been talking about for a while, especially given that Ohio, much of Ohio is within either like the total eclipse, the total darkness, or partial darkness, and we're kind of like right on the line. And also, the timing of the eclipse in our area is very much aligned with time that our high school drivers would be on the road, that our elementary buses, at least for our early schools, would be on the road. Students would be walking to the bus, drivers would be driving the bus, and it's really not in the best interest of our student drivers or our bus drivers and elementary age students to be there when you're really not supposed to be, like either looking at the sky and or on the road at that time. So we are requesting, and in some ways it's good timing given that April 8th is the Monday that students were set to return from spring break, and so it really just extends that spring break for them by an additional date. We'll be talking with families about ways that they can safely share with their student an opportunity for them to maybe participate in a little learning. Our teachers will be, I'm sure, sharing some information with students. Staff will report to work that day. We will use that as a time for collaboration, for planning, and just professional learning time for staff. So those are the two requests that we seek. We're requesting an authorization to modify the 23-24 school calendar in those two ways.
Thank you. You guys have heard the recommendation. Would someone like to make a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Rudy, thank you. A second.
Second.
Second, thank you. Mr. Lamont, will you take roll?
Mr. Rudy?
Yes.
Ms. Sanborn?
Yes.
Mrs. Spencer?
Yes.
Mr. Patton?
Yes.
Mr. Schaff?
Yes.
5 yes.
Item 8.02 is our Fieldhouse turf bid approval, and Mr. Fada is going to take care of that.
Good evening, welcome new board members. The field turf at the indoor facility at the high school was donated when the facility was built. It's not safe now, the floor is sinking in parts, so we took open bids, or we had an open bid process this fall. Dan and I opened the bids on January 2nd. There was one bidder and we awarded the bid that afternoon.
The funds from this, do you want to talk about?
From Mercy Health, the funds. Any questions about that process?
Mott's is the primary turf company in the area. I think, aren't they based in Newtown, I believe?
Yes.
So,
They've done work for us before. We had 6 companies initially interested, but they were the only company that actually bid.
You guys have heard the recommendation. Would someone like to make a motion?
so moved. Oh, go ahead.
I make a motion that we approve the Fieldhouse turf project.
Thank you, Ms. Amber. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Lamont, will you take roll?
Ms. Sanborn?
Yes.
Mrs. Spencer?
Yes.
Mr. Schaff?
Yes.
Mr. Patton?
Yes.
Mr. Rudy?
Yes.
5 yes.
Tonight, we have for you in item 8.03, the update team, or the update from the impact team focused on transportation. As you know, just a few years ago, we had our Citizens Advisory Commission study the middle school start time, and that was our specific area of focus for transportation. And their conclusion was that they recommended that we not start the middle school any sooner than 8 o'clock. And at that time, we decided not to bring that proposal forward to the board, not because we didn't agree with it or think that that's what's best for our students, but because we felt that financially it wasn't something that we could afford. So what we decided to do this fall was to revisit the conversation. We provided new parameters for Peterman, our transportation service, to look at and to review. So tonight, Mr. LaFada is going to talk you through what are those new parameters, what was our second look at this, because it's one of those things that we want to make sure we keep top of mind for the board and we keep it in our future planning, but it is way more complicated than just making a decision to change the start time and then fix the, the bells at the school. Like there are lots of significant changes that need to happen. And as we plan and look forward to a future master's facility plan, and there's just so many more components coming our way in the next couple of years, we want to make sure that we don't lose sight of this and that everything is incorporated into our thinking. So we want to bring you along in what the realities are, what the costs are, and what the challenges are as we plan for the future. So, Mr. LaFada.
Late summer, early fall, Mrs. Adams and I met with representatives from Peterman, and Mrs. Adams asked a question: could you just look at this situation as if this was a brand new district with no predetermined variables? So the parameters for the study are listed. We assume that the district is similar to ours with no previous busing at all. We prefer an 8 a.m. start time for the middle school with all students dropped off at home no later than 5 p.m. Preschools in 2 elementary buildings, all-day kindergarten in all elementary buildings. Those were the only parameters that we gave Peterman. Peterman's solution is interesting. The solution would be to go from a 3-tier busing system, which we currently have, to a 2-tier. Tier 1 would be high school special needs bus arrive at 7:30 at the high school, and in the afternoon they depart at 3 p.m. The big change is the middle school buses could arrive at 7:45 and depart at 3 p.m. into middle school, thus giving us a later start for the middle school. Tier 2, all elementary buildings, bus arrival time would be 8 a.m. and they depart at 4:04. Again, it's a nice solution because it puts all of our elementaries on the same start and ending time. And then the second part of Tier 2 is all private school Buses would arrive at the private schools between 7 and 8 p.m. and depart at 2:15 to, 2:15 to 3 p.m. As Mrs. Adams said, this is not a simple solution. There's numerous challenges listed, and I'll go over them with you. The cost of it, we would need an additional 20 buses. So the cost of the 20 buses would be about $1.5 million to $2 million, and it takes a year of lead time to purchase, for Peterman to purchase all those buses.
So the solution is cheaper than the last solution we brought to you in terms of overall cost. But that 1.5 million, that's just a first year cost, that there would continue to be exponential costs added to that. So we're in a more feasible ballpark, but it's still not without complication.
Next, there's staffing implications that Peterman would face. We would have to do a traffic study. We did a traffic study in '22, but this would necessitate a much broader traffic study because it would impact the entire district. Building configurations and programming preschool at 2 sites would be a challenge. Potential lost staff collaboration time at the elementary buildings because of the time change. Potential lost instructional time at the middle school with a shortened day. State guidelines, parochial schools, our state guidelines allow parochial schools a 30-minute window that we can ask for. However, currently we serve 11 private schools, as well as 2 buses to Live Oaks and 1 to Scarlet Oaks. So that's a significant amount of changes that would have to be considered. Next is the space in the parking garage site. While we probably do have room there, it may necessitate leasing additional space from a business next door. So there are numerous fixed costs and variable costs we have to consider, and also there might be some economies of scale that the district could leverage to make this come to pass. However, it's a small nugget in the larger picture of a master facilities plan moving forward. What we intend to do is to continue to focus on the middle school and start time solution as a big picture facility master plan. Transportation is simply a subsystem related to that. And it's not a decision that can be made quickly without a tremendous amount of further study and consideration. Any questions on this?
Yeah, so essentially what we want to hear from the board tonight is, do you have interest for us to continue to go down this route, continue to look at this, continue to plan for it in the bigger picture, knowing that it's a challenge and that we don't want to just focus on that in isolation away from all of the master facility planning that we also need to do. So we want to just get your feedback on, does it make sense for us to continue to study traffic, to study cost, to study, if depending on the configuration that the district might go to, what implications exist there? And depending on what we do at preschool, what are the implications there? If we stay at a 2-site preschool versus 1 site, or 4 sites, or 6 sites, like what all of that has implications for transportation. And so we want you to know, A, we really value what the CAC did, and B, that this is not a simple task, and that yet our future planning even makes it more complicated. So we just wanted to get some direction from you in terms of moving forward.
So one thing that would be helpful is that the CAC, if you haven't went back and reviewed, they did a great PowerPoint because they gave us this information as far as studies have shown that middle school starting later, they have a better, they absorb the information better. There is a lot of
Social emotional as well as academic, like James.
so it's important. This didn't cover that part of it, but the CAC did a great job on covering that stuff.
So our return
when
was
was
that, Ryan?
The CAC, when was it? It was not last year, but the year before, and
Okay, so 21. Thank you.
It might have been they did it in the spring, so it could have been 22 by the time. we got
The
to it.
spring of
Because they
22.
did a whole PowerPoint.
Thank you.
They gave all
I
the
remember.
statistics, the numbers. They gave different schools that start later and earlier.
Yeah, it was very, very well done, very thorough, and they understood even while they were doing it, that this was not an easy, the district should just do what we say when we say it, but they understood that there were financial implications, and just as time has gone, there's just even more factors as we look at all of the challenges structurally, that can be very challenging.
Some of the kids aren't getting home until 5 o'clock. They're not getting off the bus until 5 o'clock in the evening. I mean, if you're an elementary teacher and you have a high school kid and you're trying to go to an event, it just, not that we should change just for that, but again, those are just some of the complications that are involved in this.
So how did this come about? Did someone complain about the start time at the middle school, or how did this all start, the
Well,
ball rolling?
it actually starts, since I became superintendent, this was something I was involved in my former district, and so it came up to me in various ways. Staff might say something. We had a few people actually write to the board. I believe when you were on, there was at least one person that had written about it. We had 1 or 2 people come and talk about it at a board meeting, and when we were forming our Citizens Advisory Commission, it was important to the board to look at it officially. And so that's why they had charged the middle school start time research to the CAC for our very first project. So I wouldn't say it's something that's come up every day, just because it's a very key part of it, as well as facilities tied to it.
So I just had a question about, so our return on our investment, do you want us to look at this, continue to look at it again and make it like a year project to revisit it, or?
Well, what we're saying is, and not that we would look at it necessarily,
No.
but we would keep working behind the scenes in context with the bigger plan. So depending on where we're going with the master facility plan, because there will be implications for transportation when we make those decisions. And so we just don't want it to get so like pushed down the line that we forget about it. If it's something that's important to the board, that we kind of keep it top of mind, knowing that we can't have a 24-25 school year solution, but that we want to see a solution coming in the near future in the context of all the other possible changes that might be happening. And so we wanted to like keep it top of mind for you and just to kind of get some direction of, yes, this is important to us, we'd like you to continue to pursue it. But we can't really just promise anything yet, though.
If I'm reading this right, we're not making any
No.
motions.
We're not voting,
to do
no,
that.
just-
There's no vote to it, it's just, do we want them to continue to look into this and to continue to crunch the numbers?
Well, I think if it's the best interest of the kids and they're gonna do better if they get there earlier, I think it definitely should be on the top of the list. And I think we should continue to do our best effort to try and make it happen,
Okay.
whatever it is. Obviously, there's, like you said, there's a whole lot of other things going on.
Yeah.
But in the best interest of the kids, like you said, middle school, there's got a lot of other challenges anyway.
Maybe not, anything
To start with.
Yes,
But
I
anyway.
appreciate that, that is true. Well, and the thing for families that I just wanted to point out, like if we made this change 1 year and then in a year later we make another change because we're building or, whatever ends up happening, it just seems like we would be upsetting the apple cart of families' lives and their schedules like multiple years in a row. And so it would be better if we could get a ultimate plan so that families can plan accordingly too.
And that's what I was gonna bring up, is that including this as part of the facilities plan, because the facilities plan is going to affect elementary and middle, not necessarily as much as the high school, but I mean, and adding transportation as a component of that would help make those decisions as far as, what kind of facilities are gonna move forward. And then soon, the facilities committee would look into that as well more. But I think, keeping this on the forefront as part of the facilities plan is important. Because I think, I wasn't on the board at the time when the CAC presented, but I know that, moving the middle school start time did come up when we were on the board, previously. So it's, now that all of that lead work has been done, now we need to incorporate that into our coming plans as well, and not being in a silo separate, because just as you said, you could make all those changes there, but then when facilities happens, then we might be making more changes, and then we're just upsetting the apple cart more, like you said, yeah.
I believe we owe it to the future middle schoolers to try to provide the best possible situation for them. And I think 7 a.m. is too early for any teenager or preteen.
Or adult for that matter, for the teachers and the staff. I mean,
Right, yeah.
It is a very long staff day, especially when there's events, and
Yeah.
it's hard on kids and staff. What's hard for me as a mom, like your kids are in middle school when they're in middle school. Like I've got a 6th grader now, or a 7th grader now, or an 8th grader now, and so you want action. And so I really feel for those parents who want us to like move now. It's just we want to be clear that it's just not simple, and there are implications
think we should go ahead and continue looking at this, because I think it's going to affect the students. And we want them to have the academic excellence that they deserve and be successful when they get ready to graduate from West Clermont High School. And I feel it's important.
As you know, it sounds like we have a good indication that people want us to keep looking into this, so we will. So Chuck will stay busy with this topic. Transportation is one of the 5 challenges that we've identified as really top of mind important issues of the district. And so what we are curious about from the board, is there any other issues around transportation where you would like to see more information, more data, or anything? Because otherwise this topic will kind of sit on ice for a while we move forward with focusing on facilities and the educational programming. So if there's anything that you want to know more about though and want more information on, let us know so we can be doing that research in the background.
I do have some. This happened to me last week. I've recently moved to Amelia, and I was coming up Merwin 10 Mile, which is a major artery there. And there were 2 cars that didn't move. I couldn't figure out what was going on. Well, it turned out it was Merwin dismissal time. So they are sitting there, and people can't get through. And I'm beginning to see what residents say. I've never had the problem before. But I finally had to go through the other lane and sneak on through to get, because I was going to be late for an appointment. So I just wonder if something can be done in situations like that. Insurance and other things too.
Yeah, that's good. Like just the traffic with buses and.
They're on probably their 3rd plan since I've been here at Merwin. Pierce Township Police are there a lot, directing traffic around when they can free up an officer. And actually, this last transportation change, they made recommendations on how to stage traffic. So Erin, the principal, has, we painted stripe first. She has traffic going almost all the way, well, it does go all the way to the rear of the building, circles around, and then comes back out to get more cars off of Gaskins. But no doubt, it is a problem.
Well,
And
and just as a reminder, like we added modulars to Merwin.
We did.
So the growth of Merwin is really outsized the space, the road that feeds it. I mean, it's what you're pointing out really, it's multiple factors that has to be looked at.
Ironically enough, a lot of the problem isn't the buses, it's parents and relatives picking up the children after school. So they get there early and they line up because they want to get a prime spot.
I understand that.
Yeah, so that, it's a multi-layered problem, which includes the size of that site. So it's a long-winded answer, but yes, Peterman is going to look at that again because they realize it's a problem as well. Sometimes traffic is backed up on Gaskins almost all the way down to, is that 10 Mile there?
It was 10 Mile and it was all the way up to the line.
Yeah, it's tough.
10 Mile and 125.
It's really tough.
But I was coming the other way.
So it's not a dead issue, they're gonna study it, but I think this is the best solution this year is what's occurring in order to get school started.
I would suggest reaching out to Pierce Township zoning as well. I know that way back in the day when we first did away with busing in the district, if you pay attention along Club Pike, there's a whole bunch of no parking signs because as crazy as it is, parents were parking on the side of the road on Club Pike. So Batavia Township had to vote to put no parking all the way down there. So Pierce Township, again, I'm not sure exactly who is speaking of it, they may need to put some no parking signs. Pierce Township zoning would be the one that would
Yeah, I can ask, yeah,
we'll
good
present
point.
that to the township trustees if that needs to be, because there is a huge safety component to that piece of it.
Oh my gosh,
And-
kids
And
would-
again, as you said, the prime parking spot, it amazes me that when school gets out at 2, people are there
Yeah.
at noon.
They do. That's true.
Well, I looked. It's true. Lawn chairs and all.
That is true.
Ms. Adams, have you asked the principals at the middle school their input on the start time of the school?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we did and what I'll do, I'll forward you the report. It includes student voice, staff voice, which incorporated the administrators as well as families. So it was, the data pointed everybody in the direction to this needs to change. There was really nobody pushing back saying, oh, please keep it at 7 a.m. No one was negative.
have two things. One, on the presentation here with Peterman's solution, the two-tier, it seems like everything is within that 7 to 8 o'clock hour. So whereas now with our three-tier, you have some buses that could run a middle school route and then run a private school route and then run an elementary route, whereas now it's looking like there's one route, one system in the AM. And then with an 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. elementary day, that's an awfully long time. It just seems that I thought our current elementary times were like 8 to 3 and 9 to 4, and I didn't know if that was.
Yeah, Chuck, you can stop me if I'm incorrect here. I think the arrival time does not reflect the starting time for students.
Just
No,
for
it
the
doesn't.
first bus, which starts.
Yeah, and
Right.
so
Okay.
I do think there might be a little
Okay.
confusion about that, but it would increase the student day. One of the things that I think it's important for us to remember, previously in 15 years ago, or however many years, I'm losing track of time these days, when West Clermont had as many failed levies as it did, and they had to make really tough decisions about financial cuts that occurred, the decision was made at the elementary level to eliminate the specials, so art, music, PE, and to end the student, to shut down the buildings, at the end of the day. When students left, staff had to leave, and everything was shut down. And so what ended up happening when they removed those specials times, they also decreased the student day.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so we ended up having, around 35, 40 minutes less time with students. So now we're in a position where we've been fortunate enough to be able to bring back, although not fully restore, those experiences for students, but we never increased the student day. And so we now are in a position where we have 45 to 50 minutes of those experiences with less time than we once previously had. So this does allow for some of that time to be restored, but it wouldn't be a full 8 to 4 day for students, because you're right, that would be too much time. So I think it just reflects when the first bus may arrive on a campus as opposed to when school would actually start.
And then my second thing is the thorn in my side, but I'd be remiss if I didn't bring it up, was the issue of high school busing, where we don't bus for high school students, which has an adverse effect, especially for students that can't drive, especially in the 9th and early 10th graders. So if that's something that we can incorporate with our transportation study, not that we're promising to bring back high school busing, but at least we're telling the community that we're looking at it, and we're always looking at it, and
So you want
that's a
some
big chunk of money,
numbers
but
on that, what
Yeah.
restoring that would look like?
yeah.
Okay. Great. Anything else related to transportation that you want us all to be studying and looking into to bring back to at a later time?
I guess just to piggyback on what he's saying, while I agree with it, also try to, if we're gonna, how far you're gonna go with this, and how far you're gonna push. But are they gonna use the busing? And so it's one of those things, you supply the high school busing, and nobody uses the
Nobody
busing.
uses it.
And so that's the only concern that I would have with that, and I've seen that in other districts where they have high school busing, nobody's on them.
And then we get the complaints from the community. Well, you have buses riding around that are, 3/4 empty, and, law says that you have to have a seat for every child if you offer the busing, and then they don't use it. And
One thing that we can do is bring for you the attendance at the high school.
Yeah.
And because we've done a lot of studying over the last couple of years, looking at the root cause of absences. And a lot of times people just assume, oh, busing is the reason. And it really is just a small portion. And so maybe seeing those numbers will help you to keep it into perspective. And it doesn't mean that we shouldn't continue to pursue transportation options. We want to have access for every kid. That's extremely important. But it might not become in the form of a bus full of buses, back.
Right.
So we can do some of that research and bring you that data just to put it into perspective. Okay. All right. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you.
Okay, and for my comments, I just want to do some more advertising. We have our town hall for facilities will be January 18th, next Thursday. 6 o'clock at the West Clermont Middle School. It's going to be the same format that we did last time. So every school will have a table, and that's just a little of a myth we want to bust is that this isn't just about Holly Hill, just about West Clermont Middle School, or just about Merwin. This is truly about the needs of every single school building. So if you come, you will come sit at a table that's specifically for your school, and you can talk about the needs, because this is a district-wide look, not just looking at 3 schools. We have our board retreat scheduled for January 20th, and just looking ahead, coming out in the mailbox soon will be a State of the Schools flyer that will advertise kind of where we are. We'll look at financial, kind of our status. We'll look at where we are academically, programmatically, as we just take a mid-year look at where we are in the district, where we are, where we're going. We'll also incorporate a couple fun activities associated with it. Number 1, we'll have the Love WC Week. That will be the week of February 19th, where we come together and celebrate as an entire school district. Helps us get rid of the winter blues, as well as keep us motivated into the winter season. We will celebrate our partners in education on February 27th. That's a luncheon that we will have where we'll recognize Business of the Year partners that we have, because we could not be where we are today without our partners. And finally, we are going to take our State of the Schools event to a larger stage this year. On February 28th, it's a middle of the week event where West Clermont High School will host State of the Schools, and we'll have the opportunity to hear from students like we heard from tonight, as well as from kindergarten all the way up to the senior year, talking about their learning experiences in West Clermont. So we would love for people to come out for that community event, to celebrate our progress, and to keep looking at how we ensure that all students in West Clermont reach Portrait of graduate outcomes. That's it. Any questions for me? Thanks.
Next will be treasurer's business, Mr. Lamont.
So both items number 9.01 and 9.02 will be in the fiscal fitness minute that presented for the new board members. I try and, under my comments, do disclosure about the financial statements either for the previous month or in lieu of that, since December, since we're having the January 8th meeting and the financials for December aren't closed yet. Just want to talk about 3 different things with the board. First of all, just some advocacy efforts for as we continue FY24, and we have there was a break within the General Assembly from December to January. There were some bills that were left hanging, and give you an update on that. Also about a property tax review committee that has been formed and actually is starting this week. Talk to you really briefly about the annual comprehensive financial report that was just completed. It is for the period ending June 30th, but there is, as we do this report, which is it's a greater report, it's actually I have a copy for the board, just shy of 200 pages. We'll explain what that's all about. And then a report on the FY23 audit, which also was completed right before December 31st at the same time to do that. So just a quick update. We had a lot of conversation about House Bill 187. That was the bill that was introduced back in late spring, and it was really directed towards property taxes, and because of the escalating valuations, is some effort to try and reduce that back. That had a lot of discussion over the 6 months, 7 months, and that bill was kind of left on the floor. It left the Senate Ways and Means Committee with some adjustments, went back to the House, and was not acted upon. And as of this time, when we talk with the 3 associations that are liaisons, they believe that bill will not go any further as we go into calendar 24. But as the superintendent and I have been following this over the last 6 or 7 months, we've heard that a lot. So there's some uncertainty around that. The other bill is House Bill 344, and that bill looked at eliminating the authority to a levy replacement for property taxes. So keep in mind for us is the 2020 levy was an emergency levy, and in 2030 we would need to look at replacing that. So that bill has some impact on how we go forward up the road if that does go through. It also looked at know, but a couple of years ago, those were already changed, and the board had more some stringent regulations on that. One of those, and you'll see this coming up in February, is that if there is a board of revision complaint or something that we follow through as a district, in the past, we were allowed to just go through and file it. In the future, that has to come in front of the board, and the board has to act on it before we can take any action. That's not in this bill, but the point is that this bill, House Bill 344, looks at even tightening some of those things further. The other provision in 344 is really to look at, there is a provision for limited liability corporations to do some property transfers. It's been seen as a loophole, and then what in essence happens with this bill, it actually opens that up a little bit more. And so we're trying to make sure that doesn't happen either. It's just more pressure on school districts and other local governments restricting the property taxes or the way they're set right now. So the status of that is there are hearings this week. Actually tomorrow they start with the House Ways and Means Committee. So we'll keep you updated on that one. Probably the biggest effort that we need to pursue is the Joint Committee on Property Tax Review and Reform. When the biennium bill went through last June, this provision was put in place. I think part of some of the debate with House Bill 187 and with some other bills, incentive bills that were really about property taxes. I think there was a lot of feeling that this committee was set up to review it. It was to take the whole year of 2024 and come back with recommendations by the end of the calendar year, December 31st of 24. So there'll be a lot of activity and a lot of hearings that are going on with this bill that we will need to track and be part of advocating, for our position as a school district. If you have any questions on that, let me know, but we'll keep the board continually updated with information from that property tax review committee. It's right now just getting formed, starting to be underway. The next item was about our annual comprehensive financial report. We do a financial report for June 30th, for the fiscal year ending June 30th of 23, but that was on a cash basis. And so we're required by the state, Department of Education, we're required by the state auditor's office, and we're required by the federal fiscal services to do a more comprehensive report. This report is done on a modified accrual basis, so it's not just looking at cash, but it's looking at revenues that we are to receive that we might not have received yet, and liabilities or things that we need to pay that we may have not paid yet. So those are all included in that report as we go forward. The big thing with this report is, well, what purpose do we do it? I would say the primary people that review this is kind of threefold. A, people out in the community to look at it. There are some stats and different things in it. Two is the board and other governing boards that have oversight should take a look at this, and we can talk about it further at another meeting, but there's some good factual information in there. But I think just as important, there are people out there that invest in the school districts that hold our bonds, that look at our credibility to pay off those bonds or those debts. And so that's primarily what this report is again looked at as we go forward to do it.
It'll be on our website.
Yes, that is actually is on our website now. We tried to get that out there last week when we finished it. That report cannot be put forward until the audit is done. And so that's part of the delay from from July through December is the auditors come in and actually review our controls, they review the statements themselves, and they then give an opinion on our financial reports. This was a very clean audit. The highlighted statement is that in their opinion, or the auditor's opinion, the financial statements referred to present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the school district. And so we felt very positive about that. I do like to compliment and recognize the staff. This is not an easy task to do while they're doing a lot of other things. timelines that they have to meet in order to get this done. And they actually got most, if not all, of their work done before the Thanksgiving holiday, which in prior years was never done before. So I give them a lot of credit and compliments for getting that work done. A lot of credit and compliments to the whole district for the audit report that was attested to. So I've got the documents if you have any, and I know it's a lot to go through, and maybe, you know, if you have a hard time going to sleep at night, you might want to take a look through that, but it was, you know, it is something that we do in the office and normally do. You've seen that in the past. We're proud that we receive recognition from the two national associations, Association of School Business Officials and then the government finance officers. And what that's really about is there's certain guidelines that we have to follow to receive that recognition and getting this report done. I always thought that for 30 or 40 years as I was doing the report, one of the reports that was one of their conditions in the past that was done is you couldn't bind the report. They had to open and stay flat. So that's just a minor one. But there's a lot more criteria that's done. So we have everything done for that, and especially probably the audit. So those are my comments. Final comment is because January is in recognition of the Board of Education. Just myself and the staff really appreciate the work that you guys do. Being elected officials, it is pretty much 24/7. I know this board has met primarily twice a month, aside from other committee meetings and then being available to the public. So we as you know, employees and the staff certainly appreciate the work that you do.
Thank you, Mr. Romano. Next is board business, board comments. I'll move to Ms. Hampton.
I would like to thank the Holly Hill Husky students for their presentation this evening. They did a phenomenal job, and thank you, Mr. Young, for all that you do. And I appreciate my Husky gear. And Ms. Adams, I appreciate you recognizing the board members this evening. It really means a lot to me, and I appreciate it. Thanks.
Mr. Shaw.
I echo with kudos to Mr. Young and Holly Hill. I will say that this is the first time that I've been through the building, and I appreciate that. And I'm not sure if this is how it was or if it changed when the high school was built, but it really feels like it's, a Wolves school. The color scheme, the wolf pups, and all of that, and it's it really feels like it's part of the district, even though, like Mr. Young said, it's way east. But no, it's great, and I hope that the Holly Hill families appreciate the school, and I hear that they do too. So, and again, thank you for the swag, and thank you to all of the posters and all of the students and staff that have taken time out of their days to recognize us, and it's appreciated. Thank you.
Ms. Spencer.
Well, thank you for all the wonderful swags. I feel like I'm almost cheating because this is my first month. But I appreciate everything, and this has been just from January 1 until now, it's been a very long and very exciting, lots of hours even now, but I'm still learning, so I feel like there's a very large learning curve for this. But I do appreciate all the time and everything everybody else really does. And your school is lovely. It's very nice, and my children came here for basketball, I think, practice. It was the only time they were here. But you guys were very inviting then, and it's really nice now still. So, and I can see the teachers fill a very large gap, I feel like, and I think that they are appreciated here, and I think that the parents and the staff, everybody does a great job here. Thanks again for having us here.
Mr. Pittman.
I enjoyed talking to your students. It was very entertaining. And it's very heartwarming for me to watch you in action. I understand why you have a reputation because you are wonderful.
We all of his kids.
Yes, it's very, very. Thank you.
So again, I want to compliment the children. They did a really good job. They were very articulate, very well spoken, so they did a great job. I kind of also want to say that I appreciate the staff, the cabinet, and their hard work that they put in. I know this transportation, we've been discussing this for a while, and I know that it can be time consuming, but I do appreciate you looking into it because I do think it is important. So I think that we need to continue. So again, thank you for hosting us, Mr. Young. I appreciate us having a safety here. Dan and Natasha, as always, thank you for what you do, keeping this district moving in the direction that we want to go. So with that being said, I do believe that there is a need for us to go into an executive session, for the purpose of considering the appointment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee. I will ask for a motion as to go into
So
executive.
moved.
Thank you, Mr. Rudy. A second?
Second.
Mr. Rudy?
Yes.
Mr. Shen?
Yes.
Ms. Sanborn?
Yes.
Mrs. Spencer?
Yes.
Mr. Patton?
Yes.
5 yes.
Real quick before, I did forget, I even made myself a note, our next, we do have a retreat, as Mrs. Adams said, on the 20th, we do have a retreat. Our next board meeting will be on the 5th of February, and it is at a new elementary